times.
das Central Mebak Tobachi Labke Yore, Deninga, the bed send the Pamdo Yore, Jung Samare, then Yamla Young Samare, Can Top Samare, Yachi Dagare, Tobachi Labke Yore, what took the that's our lake.
초와대 랩나 상 sem속됐다 보는 이 뒤에 주스도 사제 잡제 또 요래 이 추지 이제 또 sem속이 이제리 또 이제 이 장 sem속 잠깐만에 이 sem속 제벌 랩고요래
Window. Oh, that dog. Oh, number two. I'm in dog. Dog. I think it's not the battery, though. The battery is full. Window.
Oh.
Kerang di window.
Testing.
So the first question is, I feel distraught when I contemplate the endless suffering of limitless beings. How can I not get discouraged with practice? And so Rinpoche said, that's first of all a very good to feel this, but then when that feeling arises, you have to also remember the three powers that we have mentioned before. So as not to get discouraged. First, there is the power of your own intention, the power of your own mind. And if you have that, then you also have the power of all the Buddha's compassion, all the Buddhas of the three times. And then you also have the Dharma Dhatu power. And because of these three powers, you can actually benefit sentient beings. And then you're not getting discouraged. When you know the three powers, actually you will feel very confident that you actually can benefit sentient beings, because you're connecting to the compassion of all the Buddhas of the three times. And all the Buddhas of the past, there's limitless Buddhas of the past and of the future and of the present, who all, at all times, act for the benefit of all the sentient beings in the six realms.
Yo 장면을 타지 이거 말이요 사야만 볼라요. 이제 건조 같은 애들이 파마마지 봐 직장 매와 차대요. 원담문이 타지 이거 말이 실득했더니 좀 trouble 타지 이면 이제 건조부터 건조나 이제나 타녀년도 그래. 이제 파마마지 직장 매서 초발되고요. 또 초발을 비고 참 아마 개월에 때문에 했어요.
Can you speak in more detail about us having been each other's parents? And so Rinpoche said, from the relative perspective, we have taken birth since limitless times in samsara, countless lives, lifetime after lifetime. We have taken birth millions of times, billions of times. And so for this reason, on the relative level, we say that there is not a single being who has not been our parents. And then on the ultimate level, actually self and other are inseparable. We have one mind. Only temporarily, due to a confused state of mind, we perceive a duality of self and other. But still, even on that level, we have been each other's parents. But then when we realize the ultimate, we come even closer to others, because we are actually one with others. But first, when we begin, when you think that all beings have been my parents, a feeling arises from that contemplation. Then you feel everyone has been my mother, and that's actually the truth. Rinpoche asks me to ask Chud questions first.
All right. Something was so time there.
Question is, Rinpoche, can you please repeat your instructions on the 4 levels, kinds of chud? So there's 4 kinds of chud with different visualizations in the text, but all of these, again, have their essence in love and compassion. The white offering is said to consist of substances like the 3 white and the 3 sweet substances, kind of the mixed offering, which consists of various sense objects, anything that we can bring to mind and then mentally consecrate. So we bless them and transform them into nectar, into anything that is desired. And then actually it does become that for those beings that we are offering it to. And then there is it's called the black offering, and that is where we purify our negativities and obscurations. And that is very similar to the Vajrasattva practice. And there's strong aversion against that suffering. For example, you think, I'm in so much pain, it's terrible. So you have a negative thought towards your pain. And so for them, there is this black offering. And it is black because you have this negative state of mind. I'm thinking that now it is bad, it is terrible, and that needs to be purified through love and compassion. And then there is also beings, there are certain beings, like life forms in a, Rinpoche says they only have the karmic fortune to get certain substances, like impure substances that we flush down the toilet and so on. And so also for their sake, we can make a dedication that they may enjoy our offering. And so then in any case, the one that we are doing, the Gosali Chod practice, the accumulation of merit, according to the Drikung Kagyu tradition, is only a white offering.
내가 강의에 대한 이곳은 로조선 일적차에 이 핑곳은 네 같이 되네야 나지냐 봐 네 같이 되는 나지냐 봐 아무 송나 보지 잡도 송더니 그 토고대 잡고에 제다와 심통고 그 봐야 그냥도 되나 내가 르마이 성공권을 생긴 semmatokpa 답대 내병고요 너네들이 이피로 이나 이피로 sem이 맞다는 진람이 차되어 되지
그냥 주라 때문에 촉식하는 게
촉식이면은 촉식제도 공부를 가서 촉식들이 얘기들 망고고사에 대중이 봐 하고는 촉식 양양도 공부를 가 그러면 가면 왜냐 쭉 냠이 거기다 조금 파대요 차리더니 这个我们如果的是这个冲的了，你如果的了，就别去用的这个了，啊，这个如果还叫这超情况，有的人们接近，我的很长久的这个。各个往左上这个这个上面的这个都，真的还讲不过用的，如果你别冲动，那当地钱呢，忙过来给你，一大年我上运这个热乎了，那就没到过多就把这个，我那中央的是的，人人中康南去做，我的让人说你们彻底做不到的。你的中康到了，一到大的怕我，我也说计划其他这方面，我是吧？我你那个买什么？这真正的。
Then will Jude help us cultivate contentment in our minds? How can we sustain contentment when we go into the world? So Rinpoche said, no, the result of the practice has to be an altruistic mind. So when you go out into the world and you just feel, I want to benefit all beings, then you have attained the fruition. Then whatever you do, at least equalize self with others. And then wherever you go or whoever you meet, be very careful in your conduct and how you're affecting or treating other people. Treat them with respect and with body, speech, and mind. And most importantly, in whatever you do, as a result of having practiced Chut now, in whatever you do, you will be very careful so as not to disturb the minds of others. So basically, the essence of all that is that others are more important to you. And that always stays in your mind. And then regarding the contentment is something that we have to really habituate to practice at all times, continuously. And first we have to reflect on the faults of needing a lot, of wanting a lot. And then through the practice of Chut, we are separating from the body. We are offering the body. And in this way, we are releasing the attachment that we have towards our body. Normally, we are extremely attached to this body. Even the slightest pain makes us feel really miserable. And then as you keep practicing Chut, that fixation, this grasping, becomes lesser and lesser. And more you will feel that it's not that bad, and for as long as I'm not hungry, I'm fine. For as long as I'm not really extremely sick, I'm fine, and so on. So this cherishing of the body, that will diminish. So on the other hand, if we keep clinging to our body as the self, then we run into difficulties in the future. This body is really actually, in a way, manipulating the mind into the wrong direction for the future. Actually, what the body is nothing but like an old car. In the 37 practices, it says, consciousness, the guest, will cast aside the guest house of the body. And that's really the meaning of Chut, actually. And then with that, we are making an offering. We are dedicating body, speech, and mind. And so when you're offering your body, what's most important is that you understand that you don't cling to this body, and that you understand that I am not this body.
Untitled Chapter 요래 다 양기 좀 보면 다 년이 생성 보지 못 받기 버리 못 받이 곰이 잡아도 것을 보고는 못 받잖아 곰 양도 보면 양 칼리 못 받기 양 칼리 용거리 다다 쭉 저한테 밀리는데 이 기막도 존나 스로티 좋아지 날리는데 인도도 그래. 돈들지. 고통으로 돈들 쪽으로 그렇지. 뭐지 양도 오는데 뭐가 소리.
Is there a specific or special tune to use when chanting the Chöd Sadhanam, and is it important to do both Tibetan and English? And so Rinpoche said that there's different melodies of Chöd in the different lineages, but now for our purposes here now in the beginning, that is not most important. In the beginning, the visualization is most important. And especially the visualization here in this Kusali Chöd, you should really train in that, really habituate your mind to that visualization. And then slowly you can also, in the future, learn the melody. Regarding the language, Rinpoche said that English is most important of whatever language you speak, because it's important that you understand the meaning of what you're reciting, and that's because the visualization is most important, because you have to visualize, you also have to understand the meaning clearly. And then now Rinpoche said that this morning we will only answer Chöd-related questions, and if there is time in the afternoon, we will see, then we might also get to some of the other questions. So after the refuge vow, we come back to questions. So then coming back to the text. Oops. The animal ram. So on page 15. So this is this purification of the obscurations, the 3 obscurations, is repeated again and again. And so here, the affliction of ignorance is the principal affliction. And then, even though that's the affliction that leads to the animal realm, also ignorance can be combined with all the other 5 afflictions. So there's different forms of ignorance. So all of the afflictions contain an element of all the other afflictions too. So each of the 5 afflictions is combined in some way with the other 5. So that's important to understand. And then the root of all of these afflictions is self-grasping. And so if these beings, those animal beings, separate from self-grasping and give rise to altruism, then instantly, due to having Buddha nature, their mind becomes this line and contemplate in this way, an actual feeling of this should arise within you. Next we come to the human realm. So it says again, I scoop the ambrosia with the skull cup in my hand, sprinkling it on the human realms, which become the Buddha land. So in the human realm, the strongest affliction is desire or attachment. Desire and love actually are related to each other. And that is the main affliction or imprint of a human being, that of desire. And then there is different kinds of attachment now. There is the attachment, the selfish attachment, and the attachment attachment towards one's own purpose. And then there is the attachment towards the purpose of others. The attachment for the well-being of others. And then a mother is attached to the child's well-being, not to her own. So there is no self. So that is the difference. The samsaric attachment is the attachment to the self. And so that kind of attachment to whatever we cling to for our own benefit, our own purpose, that is harmful because that supports that sense of a self even more. The Buddha's attachment is an affection or an attachment, in a sense, for the benefit of all sentient beings. And with that in mind, having only sentient beings in mind, the Buddha had endured many hardships and practice for 3 aeons, only striving after the benefit of sentient beings by practicing the 6 paramitas. So this kind of attachment, in a sense, for others is actually a good quality. but it should not be a biased kind of attachment. When you think, for example, I love my friend, but I don't love everybody else. So that is, again, not the attachment that is for the sake of sentient beings. It has to be for all beings. It has to be immeasurable, boundless love. And so this is the kind of love that is a good kind of attachment in the beginning. So there's a difference here between caring about others and only caring about oneself. So a person, when they think about themselves, then they develop afflictive emotions. And when they think about others, there's an attachment for the well-being of others, then that self-grasping mind actually transforms. So here we should look at the nature of attachment, of desire, and it has an element of love. It is related to love. But then it leads to other afflictions. So first there is attachment, and then the attachment leads to stinginess or greed, and then that leads to jealousy, and that leads to anger or hatred, and that leads to pride. Actually, in the human realm, we can see the suffering of all the 6 realms of samsara. So again, here, reflect upon the faults of each of those afflictive emotions causing all that suffering. And so in the human realm, it is primarily attachment. It is the attachment that we have towards the sense objects of form and touch and so forth. That is how we develop attachment. And here think that this attachment has been cleared away. Like before, when we made an offering to the deities, think that everything, the sense of I need and I have, is offered up to the deity. So the moment an affliction arises, you immediately recognize it, and whatever that object is offered up to the deity. And in that way, the feeling generated by that object is liberated in its natural state, naturally. And this is how the 6 sense consciousnesses are liberated into their own place, on their own. They just dissolve on their own when mindfulness, when clear awareness is sustained, or also when compassion is sustained. When compassion is sustained, then, for example, you cultivate love for all sentient beings, and for their sake, because that is more important to you, you are willing and able to give up any of the 5 sense pleasures, even if they're enjoyable. For example, a mother, because she loves her child, will easily give up her own happiness, her own needs and wants for the sake of the child. That's more important to her. And in that way, everything she does becomes the 6 paramitas. Because she loves her child, she can endure any kind of difficulty. She can always be patient. She will never be stingy or hold back. She always loves the child. And similarly, if one has such an altruistic mind, one will benefit sentient beings without any self-concern, and it will not create one any difficulty at all. One can do anything for sentient beings without ever tiring, without ever feeling afraid, without any attachment to one's own benefit, one's own happiness or pleasure. This mind in the humans of wishing for their own benefit is cleared away through the power of having been blessed in this way, and then the altruistic mind increases stronger and stronger, and they become free of attachment and desire. So again, attachment or desire is very similar in nature than love, and so that is also important to understand. So if you understand this all clearly, you become like a drop of water that you pour into the ocean, and you're merging with the power of all the Buddhas. So as we mentioned before, that is because of the power of your own good intention, and then the power of all the Buddhas' compassion. So the power of your own intention is that a real feeling should arise. You recognize, oh, this is an afflictive emotion. This leads to birth as a human being, and this is the antidote to that. So you reflect in this way, and then think that through the power of this visualization and consecration, then the power of this intention, the suffering and the concern, the wish for their own happiness in all human beings, that kind of suffering is cleared away.
그러다 달라고 이제 길먹고 저기 어떤 미쳐마더니 나 도저히 파모나기 여청사 이 말이 샘들이 이제 그만 들고 배나 미치기나 몸에 말아 그만 잡아서는 오더니나 되게 잡기도 맞죠 내 하고 대신 당시 늘 사적 설정은 이 조롱 가까이더니 선배쪽과 낭선 랑을이들이 동네 총도요래 동네 요말이 내두비 하고 이는 편세 제보요래 주바요래 얘는 민망로 제와요래 약합로 제와요래 오베주로 주바요래 미들랑 이사보데 파들이 미치 빠지자 이때나 사촉 서바지가 되나 오 사촉도 빼마고 통거래 야 사촉도 또한 미치게 돼 강양 통도고요 말이야 아주 통진동안 통도도 했다더니 너나 이제 그거 욕도 말이야 난 선주 쇼왔다가 참 살았더니 선주식 못해 다지도 카타는 지비는 올 무슨들이 보이는 지내서 원하는 또 나서 됐다더니 누구나 말람 됐어 몰라 됐다고 싸움이 매대도 또 어디다가 노차 또에 되래요 뭐 받고 장소는 되게 못해 강력진세 근데도 밖에 반하기 심표요 이차를 이렇게 사도 다 손사
And so then again it says that their obscurations are purified and they transform into Vajrayogini. And so then now this may make you feel, or maybe you visualize that all human beings are transformed into Vajrayogini, so now they all look like Vajrayogini. But actually this is not what is meant here actually. It's not their bodies that are transformed into Vajrayogini, but it's their minds. For example, imagine a person that is like a criminal, a very coarse behavior, causing a lot of trouble. And eventually, at some point, that person takes the refuge vow. And then they learn about karma. And slowly, this person becomes a good person, a peaceful person, a bodhisattva. But the body is still the same. He still looks the same. So it's not the body that changes, but it's the mind that changes. So here we think that bodhicitta arises in the minds of all sentient beings. And from their own perspective then, although their body still remains the same, within their minds, they experience no more suffering because there is only bodhicitta, there is only love within the mind. In their minds, they only care about others. They have patience. They care about other people. They care about their country. They are patient with their companions. They are just naturally a good-hearted person. The person still is the same actually, but the person has become like a bodhisattva. So therefore, so the obscurations are cleared away, and they can see their true nature, which is awakened through this blessing. And so if we don't understand bodhicitta, then also that cannot be awakened. So what really arises is really bodhicitta. It's not that everyone begins to look like Vajrayogini, not their bodies transform, but their mind. And as before, when their Buddha nature separates from self-grasping, and when altruism arises within them, then just naturally, actually, every man with such a mind would be Chenrezig, and every woman would be Tara. So in the human realm, the principal affliction is attachment. But here you can also think that all the 6 afflictive emotions of all the humans are being purified, and their Buddha nature awakens like a blossoming flower, and they all become bodhisattvas.
다니 사그때 그때 그 라민이고 또에 오면신 이 동에도 각각 소마서 강리 단 도와를 족저가 요리 라민 쪽거리 다 차도래 차도로 뒤니 차도를 잡아가래 다 차도 거라 당만 보세요 이제 저거 요리 소남제 세계의 차도 니고 지세랑 미세다 당리 또 괜찮으나 다다다 현도 잡을 또 아마 로마 이 바라더니 차도로 되네들이 공책 찬양도 이들이 지와는 지시랑 좀 릉스기 다 제가 피바다 대화 강의 성어들 지시랑 로야 버서 이거나 대그 쪽으로 대응 오거든요. 저쪽을 잡아 그때는 잡을님이 님 차오고 잡을때 참 이제 이랑 이랬더니 라미를 했더니 저거 지시랑 또 됐어 뭐 대공을 했지.
And so we are treating each of these realms separately because there are 6 major afflictive emotions. And the predominant affliction in the demigod realm is jealousy. And yesterday we already mentioned quite a lot about the nature of jealousy. And actually I mentioned that all the time. But in brief, we have said that jealousy, or this negative, evil intention towards others, is what destroys all of your merit. The best antidote to jealousy is to rejoice. We have also mentioned yesterday that we can really see the manifestation of jealousy in this world on a large scale in war zones. First there is jealousy, and that leads to hatred, and then there is wars. But it also happens between companions, between friends, people who love each other very much, between oneself and one's parents or disciples and so on. It is mainly because of jealousy that we are breaking our samaya, and then we argue, there is discord, and that again becomes the cause of suffering. The antidote is to rejoice, and that is basically to think that really may anyone in this world, any being in this world, be. And so here, the nectar that is sprinkled onto the demigod ram has the nature of that, has the nature of rejoicing. So it is again just like there is this hot land, dried out land, and then you see barren demigod rams, and think that now the demigods are permeated by this cooling nectar of rejoicing. So this kind of mind should arise at this point in your mind. So here, at this point, when we are consecrating the demigod rams,
이런 거 라디오 듣듯이 그들이 차도 다니 이람이 여선 탕속매 봐야 이게 좀 그렇죠. 대송다 저 보이 라지 맞을지 라지 이 맞지 대사 뭐 독단이 내가 총거래 맞아그나 진짜 나오 그냥 밖에 못 갔다 왔는데 같이 보여요. 이제 또 먹었다 와요. 여기 저 당강하면은 정말 서비스 한 줄에 그거에 괜히 뭘 되지가 고tor 대바에 소소처럼 고tor 대바치는 대바에 맞아 이거 어서 사사와 맞아 이거는 자료에 이렇게 대박을 한 뒤들이 잡았대. 맞아 기사들이 오 거기서 대바치 고tor 떼서 놓으시봐. 대라고 차를 들이 잡고 지성사 들이 어떤 단에 이제 먹고 저서 들이 잘 도와도 차서 오지.
So in the demigod ram, we are sprinkling this nectar of rejoicing, and then think that the jealousy in all those demigods is being purified, and they become free of all suffering, free of jealousy. So then the meaning of the words here is the same as before. And then next we come to the God realm. And the most important affliction associated with the God realm is pride. And it is said that of the 6 afflictive emotions, pride really causes the least harm, less than the other afflictions. But pride is related to this sense of I, and therefore it is related to ignorance. It actually is really ignorance. So often, even though we, for example, don't have a certain quality, we still take pride in being something. This I is still there. So the antidote to that is to develop faith, to pay homage or to prostrate to the 3 jewels. So here, the nectar assumes the nature of faith. So here it is the nectar of faith that purifies the pride in all the gods in the God realm. So here then think that now they all are free of pride. They all take refuge in the 3 jewels. They all develop faith and so forth. So then this completes the 6 realms of samsara.
한 년전 걸 많이 다다한테 다들 책 됐다들이 저다들이 자기를 소정 살다요. 아 소정 대상들이 다 조금 벌들이 됐지. 소정들이 코나가 아까를 가 되겠더니 주의 동안에 또 담게 돼봐. 이 동담 그때 자지 아까를 본 감소하다만 하지는 너무 소하데 주니 남다가 자지 그때가 동담 그때 봐 아까를 본 감소하다만 이자들이요 다사다 인사들은 무슨 토수
다 잡서 디양게 아까로 양께서는 아까로 디양께서는
아까를 못해 주니 남다가 자지 동담 봐 또 많이 라고 했어요. 근데 서로도 하고 말이 근데 주인 나다지나 하고 주인 나다지나 못하고 말이 소바와치다 못하지 말이 근데 이미 이거는 다른들 하고 차이 생각으로 그런데 뭐 시긴 좀 되게 담게 죽었다 갔다 왜지 뒤는 로그도 봤다 왜 요요 나와 주니 남다는 건데 예비 나와 우리 가가 많이 봐. 이건 라야 세비랑 그래 도와도랑 세비랑 우리 내가 접하다 다서네 이 사람 차로 저리 잡도 차서 또
So then on page 17, then in the middle, in the space in front of me, I visualize the Lama, Vajradhara, and so forth. So here we visualize the field of accumulation in space before us, and then to them we are making offerings. Again, we are making nectar offerings to them. So here think that on page 18, they all come together clearly like clouds gathering in the sky. And then the mantra, Akarumukham, that mantra. So Rinpoche says he doesn't know Sanskrit, but the general meaning of the mantra here is the utterly pure state of dharmata is here being offered. So it is the ultimate truth of emptiness. And then the Svabhava mantra actually has a very similar meaning, the mantra that we had in the beginning. So it basically represents the indivisibility of samsara and nirvana. Your own mind has become pure, and now you're making offerings to these guests of the 3 jewels. And here you're thinking that they are here, abiding in space. Their space-like nature is the Dharmakaya, and they gather like clouds in their Sambhogakaya form. Their nature is the utterly pure state of Dharmata, the indivisibility of samsara and nirvana. And then also here you remember that actually also the previously mentioned 6 realms of samsara are just that. They are that state. They are actually nothing but the projections of one's own mind. And once the temporary obscurations have become purified, it is like an ice block melting into the ocean. Yeah, so then next you're making this offering, and then all those guests who have Vajra whole tongues, having tasted and enjoyed the ambrosia, are fully satisfied. And so then with Pet again, you're offering the nectar to each of them. So the Vajra tongues here represent the tongue of emptiness. And just like the sun, like the sun particles in a sun ray, from this empty Vajra tongue, a stream of light emerges, and in this way they are receiving your offering. This light stream receives their offering. And so what that really is exchange where the light stream is extended and they take in the offering. It is the exchange of your own devotion and all the Buddha's compassion. So here, so you have visualized the refuge tree, the field of accumulation, and then each of them receives that offering, and then it concludes with Amahong. So you say, I offer this ambrosia to the glorious kind root, and then Yachlamas Amahong. So then you recite a few Amahong and think that they have received this offering with their light Vajra tongues. And then next you think the same about the Yidams, and then they receive it, and again Amahong. And then the Dakinis and the Dharma protectors receive the offering, and again you say a few Amahong. So then we are on page 21, and so then Rinpoche said the words are actually quite clear here. We don't have to go through everything. But basically, we form the field of accumulation, the higher beings as rituals. Towards them, we must cultivate faith and devotion. And then next, the beings of the 6 realms. For them, we must cultivate compassion. So first, when you make offerings to the 3 jewels, then you think that having made this offering, they accept this offering for our benefit. And then when you feel compassion and offer to the beings of the 6 realms, then you think, and with that offering, the karmic creditors and all karmic debt is cleared away, and all of their self-grasping dissolves, their negative mind, their afflictions, all dissolves. So these sentient beings of the 6 realms of samsara are one's karmic creditors. There's different kinds. But so anyways, after having made this offering to them here, in the end, then think that through having received the nectar, having been blessed by the nectar, they all become the deity. And their Buddha nature is awakened. Actually, as we mentioned before, it's actually the same visualization. So as before, in brief, through the nectar, they transform into the deity. And now we're on page 22, and that's the end offering. And that is actually not part of the Gosali Chut, but it was added by Garchen Rinpoche and taken from a different the Yellow Prayer Book. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the body.
I